If you're looking to launch your first nightclub event, you want to make sure that you're ticking all of these boxes before you launch, because if you're missing one of these things, there's a really good chance that you're going to miss out on an opportunity or you're going to hiccup somewhere down the road. So I'd rather you just get all of these ready now so that you don't have problems in the future. Hey guys, my name is Brandon. I used to DJ and produce as Wilco. I used to promote events as well. I don't do any of this stuff in nightlife anymore, but what I do on this YouTube channel is share some of the lessons I had learnt from my younger teenage years when I was doing all that stuff, so that you don't need to repeat any of the dumb mistakes that I made, because some of them were financially and mostly just like physically expensive to learn, and I'd rather those lessons not go to waste, so I just share them on this YouTube channel. So if you are working in nightlife, whether you're a DJ, a producer, a nightclub promoter, or something in that realm, or you just like watching these videos, consider subscribing, because I'm trying to grow this YouTube channel and I like sharing the lessons. And you can DM me questions on Instagram as well. I'll put it in the description. But other than that, here is the checklist. The first one is just some obvious stuff. You need a name, you need a venue, you need a date, and for the love of Christ, don't make the same mistake I made. Check that there's like no date clashes with like major competitors, right? I, for one, have a personality type where I'll just like launch shit willy-nilly, and then like an hour after I've announced the event, I'm like, oh wait, there's like a massive music festival on down the road, and then I'll like quickly change the dates and the artwork and stuff like that. So massive scramble, patrons get confused, just avoid it, just do your research, talk to everyone, make sure nothing's gonna get announced on the same day, and you'll be all hunky-dory. Another really important thing under the obvious stuff kind of category is the brief, the music policy, and your USP. So what's the vibe of this event? What's the music policy? Who's playing? What's the unique selling point? Why should people come to this event? Big mistake I see a lot of event promoters make is they just go, oh, it's just the whole build it and they will come thing. No. Everyone wants to be a fucking nightclub promoter. Everyone wants to be a fucking DJ. It's really hard. You need a unique selling point, and you need to have a reason why someone should come to your event and not another event. And the reason can't be your logo, and it can't be just because it's an option. There's fucking plenty of different options, right? Come up with a unique selling proposition. Second thing after all of that obvious stuff is just the graphic design assets. So what that means is like the event cover photo or banner, whatever you want to call it, the profile picture, the icon, any of the like announcement graphical assets, any of the like tickets on sale. Think of all of the different key points in the timeline between you announcing the event and the actual first night of the event. What are all the things that you need to talk about? And you need to have graphic design assets ready for all of those. So like launching the event, tickets going on sale, early birds about to run out, early birds sold out, first release about to sell out, first release sold out, 1 week left, 5 days left, 6 nights left, no sleeps left, tonight. Things like that, venue announcements, all of those things, you want to get all of that ready, and you want to get it ready in all the different dimensions and formats that you need. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is the dimensions for something you would post on your Instagram newsfeed are going to be different to the stuff that you post on the Instagram story. Stuff with TikTok as well, make sure that you're using as much vertical screen real estate as possible. The analogy that I use to drive this home is that most of, like literally pretty much all of your traffic is going to be mobile, and so only posting landscape videos or images is a bit like paying for a full page ad in the newspaper and only using like 1/3 of the page, right? You want to take as much vertical screen real estate as possible, because everyone's looking at this stuff on their mobiles, right? Third thing you need is to claim all of your social media accounts, even if you're not gonna fucking use them, right? Just get all of them, just claim all the usernames, and make sure that you can do it so that all of your usernames are the same, right? So if it's event.brand, the Twitter should be event@event.brand. The TikTok should be event.brand. It should all be consistent so that people can easily find things. Just get them all ready. You might not use all of them right now, but you'd rather have them ready and sitting there rather than someone fucking gank it from you later like a dog, right? Fourth one, domain name claimed. I'm gonna tell you a story to drive this point home. So once upon a time when Brandon was, how old was I? 21 or 22 with an ego 10 times the size that I have right now. One of my competitors who I didn't get along with ever, and he fucking hates me, and I could tell stories about that to the end of time. He changed the name of his venue, and I was drunk one night at my club, and I thought, you know what'd be funny? Buying his domain name. You know what I thought would be funnier? If you went to his domain name, it redirected you to our Facebook page. I thought it was fucking hilarious. he sent me a cease and desist. So get your domain names. You don't need a website straight off the bat. Well, you might not need a website straight off the bat, but you need to claim your domain name so that when the time comes, you can build it, at least maybe a landing page or a website, or you can at least have custom email domains as well. That stuff's really important. So just claim your domain name. If you go on something like GoDaddy, you can get it for like 20 bucks a year or something. It's really, really cheap and it's worth doing. Next thing is the email creator. Now, if you've claimed your own domain name, you can have a custom RSVP at your custom event domain name or whatever. But you want an email, you can just use a Gmail, so it's like event.brand@gmail.com, but you want something so that people can email you, whether it's promoters or venues, or you just want some pretty formal form of communication there. Gmail account's fine, you can get a custom one later. The next thing is to build your promoter team. Now, a point I made in a previous video, when you recruit your promoters, recruit at least twice as many as you need. Now, the benefit of promoters is typically the incentive for them is pay per performance. So it might be they get a clip of like how many tickets they sell and people use their discount code. It might be how many heads they brought through the door and like guest list names got ticked off and they get a drink token or a bar card or something like that. So if you get more promoters, it's not like you have to pay the ones that don't perform, right? Because what will happen is if you recruit 30 promoters, like 15 of them will work out because the other 15 will get bored. They'll say they're interested. They won't do anything. They won't communicate with the group. They won't do any of the shit that you tell them to do. And as a consequence, they just won't get any results, right? And the other 15 will actually do what you say. So if you just get as many as you possibly can, and then you only need to pay per performance anyway. You might not even be paying them actual money. It might be like drink tokens for the venue or something like that. So that's fine. But build your promoter team. I might make a separate video on all the cultural kind of aspects and rituals that you can, that sounds culty, but I talk about cults a lot on this YouTube channel. All the kind of cultural dynamic stuff you can do to build your team. So like the initial meeting where you guys talk about all your ideas and get everyone really excited, all the promoter dinners and all that stuff. Have those systems in place, and there's probably some ideas spinning around in your head already on stuff you can do to really build the community in your team, because that's what's going to get retention as well. People stick around in promoter teams when they feel like they belong. That's why my promoter teams lasted like years. Typically the churn's pretty high on promoters. They'll leave after a couple of weeks or a couple of months. But if you really build a community where everyone feels like they're a family, it sounds kind of cringe. And you don't turn your back on family. But that's when people really stick around. Once your promoter team is built, you need to build a promoter comms channel. That's typically like a Facebook group or like a group chat or something like that. Benefit of that is everyone starts sharing memes and shit posting, and everyone starts sharing nicknames and renaming people in the chat and stuff like that. That's when the dynamics really start working out and people start really clicking. And that's where you'll start getting better performance because you've got that constant engagement. People will perform better when they feel like everyone else is active, and literally just like receiving messages in a group chat, they just see all of this activity and feel like they're in a really vibrant community, and that's where they'll push a little bit harder. Because imagine the converse, imagine if you're in a group chat where everyone's constantly talking and joking and sharing memes and stuff like that, and then you're just in a Facebook group where just like the head promoter says, hey, go do this. One's very different to the other. You feel like this one no one really cares, and this one's really, really active, and so you want to be for that really active group. So establish that promoter commerce channel. DJ selected. I said in another previous video that selecting your DJs is remarkably important. The reason for that is because most of the experience is audible, and that audible experience will impact other people. So if let's say, for example, you just walk into a club, the DJ's playing shitty music and everyone else in there has a shitty vibe because of the shitty music. Now that kind of cascades down to you. You've got a shitty vibe from those shitty people from that shitty music. Right? It's just a snowball effect, and it all kind of stems from the DJ. Probably why the DJs get their ego. I would know, I was one. Right? So make sure you select the right DJs. I don't have a clear-cut answer for whether you should book yourself or not. I definitely don't think you should book yourself all night. I think you should book yourself late. Or I'm going to be careful with that too, because you might be like hammered later, and that's a bad idea too, just like I learned. But typically you want to be out on the floor, meeting patrons, getting feedback, and finding opportunities to make the event better. And you can't do that when you need to be DJing, because you need to change the song every 90 seconds, right? Select the right DJs, and don't just book your friends because they're friends. Book DJs for the quality of their talent, right? It's really, really important. Also, don't expect DJs to be promoters either. They don't like that, but they will do it for you. If they like your event and you pay them well and that like they feel like they fit in, right? I can talk about that in another separate video. Photographer booked, also remarkably important, because there's almost no point running an event if you can't capture it. The reason for that is there's a financial incentive for that as well. Your first event's going to be really hard because no one knows what the experience is going to look like, and people don't like being the guinea pigs for an event. As soon as you get photos or videos, which is why you should also have your videographer booked as well, which is my next point. You need your photographer booked and your videographer booked because you need to capture as much of the great moments on your first launch party so you can use it to advertise the second party. First one's going to be really hard because people don't like being a guinea pig, they don't know what to expect. But once you capture that photo and video evidence of what the event will be like, it's much easier to sell the second event because you can visually see what to expect for people that didn't want to be the guinea pig on the first one. So those are really important. Your ad accounts created. I'm not going to talk about in this video about creating your ad accounts, but create your Meta ad account, which is Facebook and Instagram, and your TikTok ad account. Even if you're not going to use them yet, might as well just have it set up and ready. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but make sure you set up like the Meta pixel and the TikTok pixel, because if you're selling tickets, you're going to need to set them up on that. I could talk like an hour on this because I literally own a fucking digital ad agency that like does all this stuff. And by the way, this isn't like a sales pitch for like our agency, because most, like, unless you're like a major music festival, it actually doesn't make sense getting it done for your agency. But I could talk about that in another separate video. Just learn how to do Facebook and TikTok ads yourself, and make sure just fucking YouTube it after this, like how to set up Meta Pixel, how to set up TikTok Pixel. You just learn for free, right? And this is why I say book the photographer and the videographer, because the graphic design assets like lineup posters and things like that are a remarkably bad way to sell the experience of being at an event, because a lineup poster is like, this person is playing at this time, this person is playing at this time. It's all very red brain stuff, which is, I'll talk about in a separate video, but like red brain versus green brain. Red brain is like logic and fact and rationality. Green brain is more like emotional states and stories and experiences. Whenever we like do the ads for like major music festivals, the lineup poster will do like okay, but like the footage of like a big drum and bass DJ playing at a big festival just does monumentally better, because people can see that video and go, oh yeah, that's what it feels like to be at a music festival on drugs, right? It's just a way better way to sell the experience. Another thing you need to tick is your launch timeline created for your social media accounts. When are you announcing the page? When are you announcing the event? When are the tickets going live? When are you posting like 2 weeks left? When are you posting like 1 week left? Like all of that stuff. Have that whole timeline and all of your posts like ready to go. Next thing, if you're ticketed, make sure your ticket pages are created. I touched on this before, but make sure your tracking pixels and analytics codes are installed as well. What you want to be able to do is if someone visited the ticket page for your first event, you want to be able to retarget them with the Meta Pixel or the TikTok Pixel for the second event. If you ever see those ads where like you add something to your shopping cart and then it fucking followed you around the internet to the ends of the earth, that's because some clever internet marketer like me used a pixel and said, hey, anyone that visited this page, I want to show them another ad that tells them to go back to this page and buy our cool stuff, right? Last one, call in all the favors that are owed to you. So think about any partnerships you could make with local pubs in the area, any partnerships you could make with university clubs or social clubs. Even just getting like non-promoter friends to like share the event and invite their friends, right? Depending how long you've been in the industry, there's probably more or less favors that you could call in. Like, I'm not even in nightlife anymore, but if I wanted to fucking launch an event, there's like 8 people I could fucking text that would give me a venue this afternoon, right? So any of the favors that you're owed, without being a dick and abusing people when they don't actually owe you a favor, start calling all those in so you can see the success of this first night. Other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. Comment if you have any questions or if there's any other things I can make videos on that will be useful to you. Give it a like if you have watched for this long, because it's really hard to get people to watch the end of a YouTube video. So if you've gotten this long, I'm assuming it's been useful. And subscribe if you want more, because I'm trying to grow this YouTube channel. Like I said, I'm not monetized. I don't sell any courses on like how to build at a promoter or event or whatever like that. I just make these YouTube videos because I like sharing the stuff that I learned. DM me on Instagram if you've got any questions, and I will see you in the next video.